The following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Crossed Flags, a racing podcast. It's your midweek fix for racing news and information. Brought to you by the Championship Racing Network. Now let's head trackside to join your hosts, Steve West and Matt Nicholson.
Welcome to the post-mortem on Talladega weekend. I'm Steve West. That is Matt Nicholson. Molly is our producer today. We certainly appreciate all of her help. Producer John, of course, will be helping along in the aftermath as well, and we appreciate him too. We'll get to Talladega here in just a moment, but there was actually a lot of big news, and we just kind of picked and choose. And among the picking and choosing, we came up with three stories, two of which are actually quite related. One isn't. And this is one of those things that we've been following for a little while. And here's the thing. You're going to find that this is going to happen more and more and more and more. For example, NASCAR's Cup Series this year started the first year of a 7-year deal where there is a 5-race slate that is on Amazon Prime. A lot of people got upset over it because they don't have Amazon Prime. I hate to tell you this, but you're going to have to start thinking about getting used to it because a lot more of this stuff is going to streaming. For example, Formula One. Formula One announced late last week, just before we got to Circuit of the Americas and started putting cars on the track, that they had a new broadcast deal for the United States of America. And it does not include the ABC-ESPN duo that they've been with since 2018. They're going all streaming, and it should come as no surprise that it is Apple TV. We don't know all the details of this. We haven't been told the exact number of years, for example, but I would imagine it's at least a 5-year deal, if not longer.
I'm sure it's large.
And we don't know the exact numbers, but from the numbers that we had been hearing, it's about twice the amount a year that ABC ESPN was giving Formula One for their rights to take the Sky Sports broadcast out of Britain and re-air it here. That number we know, $75 million. So if that number holds true, Apple TV is pumping out $150 million annually just to take a broadcast that is already done by a British broadcaster and re-air it here. Not a bad deal for Formula One or Liberty Media, which of course is based here in the United States of America. So beginning next year, you only got a few more races here this year to be able to catch it on cable, if that's what you've got. And if you haven't gotten Apple Plus and you're a Formula One fan, there it is. That's where you got to go. Now I got to convince my wife.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
I understand, from what I understand, Apple is starting to work with, and I forget which one it is, it might be Paramount Plus, on a deal where you can actually get both services for less than what you'd be able to do them separately.
I think you're right, yeah. I heard that too.
So keep an eye on out for that, because that might actually help you out a little bit, plus that'll give you the CBS stuff. So there you go. All right, so there's our Apple for the day. Now we need to talk a little restructuring. And we're going to kick it off because this really, it affects more than one level when you really stop and think about it. Teams having technical alliances with other teams, really no surprise. For example, next year, Haas factory team, they're going to switch from Fords to Chevrolets. They're going to have a technical alliance with Hendrick Motorsports, and that's how they're going to get all their drivetrains. All their engines, transmissions are going to come from Hendrick Motorsports. So no real big surprise right there. But when you hear a team deciding that they're going to end that without announcing a car make change, that opens your eyeballs. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you Kaulig Racing. Kaulig Racing has a technical alliance and a working relationship with Richard Childress Racing.
Excuse me.
In fact, isn't their shop currently on grounds that Richard Childress Racing owns?
It is.
This is going to be real interesting because they just ended that technical relationship with Richard Childress Racing at the end of this year. The other thing about this is you might remember there's some fairly big news about Kaulig Racing in that they're going to start up their own truck series operation, and they're going with Ram trucks. Now, you might realize something that Kaulig runs Chevrolets along with Richard Childress Racing in the Cup and Xfinity series. Ram isn't owned by General Motors like Chevrolet is. Ram is owned by Stellantis along with Dodge. And that means that we honestly believe when Stellantis finally does get their cars ready to go, what will be O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, what's now the Xfinity Series, and Cup Series racing, they're going to be the headline team for them too.
And probably what was the worst kept secret, in my opinion.
Sure.
When they announced they were going to be the flagship team for Dodge in the truck series, you kind of seen this coming. Because, there's what would it be of a benefit to have a technical alliance when on any given week you're outrunning said team you have technical alliance with at any given point? This is pretty smart because you're now going to be one of the big fish in the pond when Dodge does pull the trigger of getting back into the car side of everything with them now being in trucks.
Right now, you're the only fish in the pond. I mean, if you think about it, Dodge Ram is coming into the truck series next year with Kaulig on a 5-truck team. They're not worried about any other guys. They got 5 trucks under one roof. That's all they're worried about. And they're all in on this because we did the report on this a few weeks ago. They are all in on this. Every single one of them is going to have Ram branding on that truck somewhere. And if they happen to get some extra sponsorship, great. Not worried about it.
No.
Dodge, Ram, their parent company, Stellantis, they're all in on coming back into NASCAR. And it starts in the truck series next year. I would imagine probably within 2 years.
27 tops.
Oh, you think one more year?
27.
Okay, here we go. Watch out for these guys being the headliners there. A lot of people wonder why you would go ahead and dive in with something that's so new. Well, think about it. When Toyota came in, how quick was Joe Gibbs to go over to it? Why did Joe Gibbs go over to it so quick? Joe Gibbs was a small fish in a big Chevrolet pond, and the big fish in that pond is Hendrick Motorsports. Nobody's going to get bigger than Hendrick Motorsports in the Chevrolet pond.
Nope.
You could go to Ford, but there's already a big fish over there. So you go to Toyota, and you are automatically the biggest fish in the pond because you're the only fish in the pond at that point in time. And truth be told, there ain't that many other fish in the pond even now. There's only 2 other teams in the Toyota bin, and one of them is closely affiliated with Joe Gibbs Racing.
They are.
So there you go. In addition to announcing that they were going to split and probably get ready to go over to the Stellantis brand, which we're quite certain it's going to be Dodge, although they haven't confirmed it yet. I don't know who else they would go with. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
In addition to that, they announced in that 5-truck team their first driver. They've pulled the 2025 Arca Menard Series champion.
We go from fruits now to vegetables.
That's true. Brendan Queen, whose nickname is Butterbean. He is going to be the first driver, and certainly not the last, that is going to go to Kaulig Racing next year. This is a great move by them.
Smart move, in my opinion, because it's to me, I saw the writing on the wall that he would be the first one that they pull when he started getting those Xfinity rides, getting rides in the Xfinity car, in the 11 car, to fill out the rest of the year. And with him running the last 3 races of the year, announced before this was announced, I'm not at least a little bit shocked. And it's a very, very good pull. It's a very solid base of a foundation to start with for your roster of drivers. He will be good. He'll be good. I have no worries about him.
We do know of a driver who we honestly think needs to go over there as well. He's currently sitting out there after having been released from Viking Motorsports before the Talladega weekend happened, and that's Matt DiBenedetto. We'll see whether or not Kaulig actually goes with him or not. But we saw this guy out at Talladega, and he acquitted himself very, very nicely. So I would expect that he'll have no problem, very little to no problem adjusting to the truck series.
And I will say this too about the actual Ram truck. I put my eyes on it, and I have to say they did a very, very, very good job of taking some contour and body lines off of the F-150. It is eerily close,
Yeah,
in body lines and contour lines to the F-150.
yeah.
Especially on the nose.
And there may be some changes yet to come on that as far as the body is concerned, but I wouldn't imagine much. That truck that was out there, you were looking at the fan midway, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took a glance at it Friday.
Yeah. I was able to glance over at it myself and see it, and I didn't get a close-up look at it. Not as close as him, but yeah. That may alter just ever so slightly, but I wouldn't imagine it'll alter a whole lot.
And please, whatever they do not offset that number towards the front like it was on that show truck.
Oh, wow.
That is hideous with a capital idiot.
Nice. I like that.
Very hideous.
And that brings us to what's going to be the commentary section here. And I'm going to let Matt lead off because Talladega was a fairly interesting, an interesting time for us. Let's just put it that way.
That's a very, very, very light way of putting it.
Yeah. I'm being nice about it right now. I'm about to not be, but I'm going to let Matt lead off.
Oh boy. For the first time in a very, very, and it is still extremely confusing to he and I both, that a media outlet, this platform, a media outlet that is home base, give or take 15 miles as the crow flies.
Yeah, somewhat around that number.
Give or take that much. There would be a denial of a credential, and with some other voices, let's just word it that way, that have familiarity with some situations, they were denied on reasons that were very unfounded and very, very confusing. When some things were, let's just say, there were some very blatant lies that were caught. And now when you see on social media from people in other outlets that there were credentials approved for media outlets in Kentucky, Owensboro, Kentucky to be exact, Ohio, and Indiana. But it's confusing. What the most confusing part to me is it was directly quoted to me that space was limited in the media center. I find it hard to believe space is limited in the media center when that is probably the third largest media center in the whole series. Second largest, maybe, possibly. It's very large. We'll put it to you that way. And I still don't know how to feel about it. Because ever since 2017, anytime anybody needed help with something out there, I was immediately at the front of the line. Hey, what do you need? I will gladly help it. But it's really confusing. Some things are really confusing. And now that I've hit my leadoff single, we'll let Wes come to the box now.
Okay, and I'm still looking for the text that you sent me on that, and I'm not finding it. But let's just state this: the person who we requested this logo right here is going to be fully explained here in a moment. The person who we sent the request to and that returned to us, whose name shall remain anonymous. I'll be professional that way for it. Send a form letter. Let me repeat that. Sent a form letter that outlined one of several points. Pick whichever one you want to. And in looking at that form letter, I could pick apart every single bit of it, such as not an established brand. I've been doing this show under this name for the better part of a decade, and I have been doing this show under the previous name of it I'm talking about the big show that we do on Saturdays, for over 15 years now. So I am established. We don't cover NASCAR. I'm sorry, what did we just do? I get it. We let off with Formula One, but what were those second two that we did? Oh, that's right, NASCAR. NASCAR probably, would you agree, the biggest part of the big show of a full 2 hours every single week?
By far.
I mean, yeah, we get Formula One news, we get IndyCar news, we get NHRA news, we get Formula E news. We've even started covering the IHRA. Mm-hmm. But NASCAR is the biggest part of it, covering the Cup Series, what's now the Xfinity, soon to be the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, and the Craftsman Truck Series. So don't tell me that. And then we heard, specifically he heard from this contact in Daytona, there wasn't enough room in the media center, which is what he touched on. Well, my credential, being a PA announcer out of Talladega, allows me to go into the media center. The media center on the wall right by the door has a nice large map showing where all of the approved media groups or people go to find their seat. I'm sure this is very similar in football, baseball, basketball, hockey, blah, blah, blah. Producer Molly could probably answer to that. I looked at that map. I counted no less than 21 open seats.
21.
No room in the media center, huh?
Strike two.
Blatant lie. I could go on, but I'm not going to. I'm going to explain this right here. Why do I have the logo of the old MTV? You know, back when they called themselves music television. Now, according to them, and for the last, decade or so, they claim that M doesn't mean anything. Well, it does. Mediocre. This network, its parent company, is about to pull the plug on all the music channels that are currently still under the MTV banner. And there aren't many of them. Nope. They don't air music that much anymore. Mm-mm. This flagship network right here is pretty much all movies and reality shows. And here's the thing. Here's the extra thing on it. Not only are they shutting down all the remaining music channels under the MTV banner, the parent company is actually thinking about ending MTV as a network, period. Matt is about as old as MTV, give or take. MTV started in 1981.
4 years older than me.
Molly, MTV's been around all of her life. MTV, as in mediocre TV, has been around all of her life. Do you even remember, Molly, when MTV played music videos? Yeah.
I do remember.
I could sit and watch, during my high school days, I could sit and watch MTV 24 hours a day and watch video after video after video. It was literally all that it was. I remember the Mark Goodmans, I remember the Alan Hunters, the Nina Blackwoods, and so on. I remember them all very, very well. I remember the heyday of MTV, in other words. But they let it go. They just let it die on the vine. NASCAR, I got news for you. You're in danger of doing the same thing. I think it's great that you've got, for the Craftsman Truck Series, Fox Sports covering everything and even putting a couple of the Truck Series races on the main network. But for the most part, you've got them all on Fox Sports 1. I think it's great that the Xfinity, soon to be O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, has its own network in the CW. And I think it's fantastic. You got a 7-year deal that allows you to split between Fox Sports, Amazon Prime, TNT, TBS, whatever the heck that it is, and NBC Sports for the Cup Series. But the problem that you got here is that you just allowed Fox Sports to run you over. They ran you over with an IndyCar, which has 17 races in a year, about half of what you run when you include non-points events. You run 38 races in a year, 2 non-points and 36 points events in a year. IndyCar runs 17, and you allowed Fox to relegate you out of the 14 races they run, 10 of them to Fox Sports 1, so that they could put IndyCar up there, which gets half the viewership that you do. And then you allowed NBC to do the exact same thing, relegate you to second place. Over what? Over the other series that you own that gets what? A quarter of the viewership that the Cup Series does? But yet you allowed NBC Sports to put you on USA. That's a problem. It's a big problem. We haven't got the numbers yet, but by Saturday during the big show, I will have the numbers, and I will state the direct competition of NBC, which aired Talladega, and ABC, which aired the Formula One race in Circuit of the Americas in Texas. And I hate to say this, but I think you might find Formula One might have eaten your lunch too. Either way, it's going to be close. I can guarantee that.
Oh, yeah.
But you're going to go out there and you're going to state that there are these bigger names that you can go out there and put out there. And I get it. Fox, ESPN, NBC Sports, the motorsport.coms, the racer.coms, the catchfence.coms, pick your choose. I get them. They're all bigger than what I am right now. But all of them started where I am at one point in time or another. ESPN began on a little lot just outside of Bristol, Connecticut, and started in a trailer. Now they're the worldwide leader in sports. There used to not be a motorsport.com. There used to not be a racer.com. There used to not be a catchfence.com. There used to not be a frontstretch.com. You get that where I'm going with this? They all started somewhere. We're starting there too. And we're separating ourselves out a little bit by doing a radio show that covers all the series that I just talked about. Because the truth of the matter is, you can find podcasts and radio shows all around the country. If you're in the Southeast, you can find a whole bunch of them that cover NASCAR just like we do. If you're in the upper Midwest, you can find a whole bunch of them that cover IndyCar just like we do, or the NHRA. But do they cover them all? No. Best we can tell, we're the only show in this country that does what we're doing. And if I'm wrong on that, then I apologize to those who I have just marginalized because I didn't mean to do it. I just don't know about you yet. And I wish you the best of luck. But the truth of the matter is because we cover, in addition to NASCAR, Formula One, Formula E, IndyCar, NHRA, IHRA, and the others, I don't actually need to cover NASCAR because I can make up a 2-hour show and I can make up this podcast without you. The truth of the matter is, NASCAR, you need us. You need media outlets like mine and ours. You need the fans like we are, yes. Because, yes, we were fans first, but we understood that we had an ability to be able to talk about this as well and do it on a professional basis. You need me, and you need us, and you need this show and this podcast more technically than we need you. Because the truth of the matter is, if we decide that you're no longer worthy of us covering it, and suddenly that creates a snowball effect where other media outlets decide, you know what? They're right. You end up like them. This one right here. One of the big monsters of cable 40 years ago. Going away. Getting the plug pulled. They're on life support right now. NASCAR, you're shedding viewers. You're shedding listeners, with all due respect to the motor racing networks and the performance racing networks. By the way, thank you, Brad Gilley. I appreciate you taking the time to actually meet with me. I do appreciate that very, very much. But if you start and you keep shedding viewers the way that you're doing it, this is the future. And that's a problem. But you keep this up. You keep marginalizing media, local media, who are more than happy to give you good press, especially when deserved. You're going to find yourself out in the cold, just like you left him and us out in the cold. Watch it. Be very, very careful. MTV's about to go the way of the dodo bird. You got a 7-year deal, and you had to fight to get that 7-year deal. You had to fight hard. Sooner or later, though, the viewership numbers are going to make those networks that are currently airing what you're doing, make them think real hard about whether or not they want to re-up. You got 6 more years on this deal after this year. What are you going to do about it? Steve O'Donnell says that he's more than willing to get back to the grassroots, get back to the way that NASCAR used to be. Okay.
Do it.
Let's see it. You know where it starts? Having partners in the media. People like us. Be careful, NASCAR. There's your warning right there.
It's just overall really, really weird still that 0 problems for 5 straight races. And now there's a problem.
And the truth of the matter is,
there's not one.
We can talk to any single Speedway Motorsports Incorporated track that we want to, and we'll get credentials. Why is it that NASCAR, which technically I'm an employee of as a PA announcer at Talladega, why do I have a problem getting a credential from my parent company? That's a problem. That's a big problem. You say you're handing out too many media credentials? Sorry, I'm not seeing it. I don't think you're handing out enough. I don't think you're handing out enough. Do your due diligence by all means. Somebody sends you a request for a media credential, do your due diligence. Make sure that they're actually a media outlet. Make sure that they're actually going to do photography for you, which is what Matt was going to do. I have no problem with that. We've got a podcast, we got a radio show, we got a website, we got a YouTube page. I don't know what more we can give you to prove that we're actually a legitimate media outlet. I ain't got it. I don't know what I can do. I've done everything that I can. I've done every single thing that ESPN can do. All ESPN can do is to prove that they're a legitimate media outlet is go, I've got a TV channel. Okay, sorry, I don't have a cable network. But they've got a streaming service. I've got a YouTube page. That's a streaming service. Plus the affiliated YouTube pages for Jocks 94.5 and Talk995.com. I've got a podcast. I've got a radio show. I've got a website. I've got shirts made up that he and I both wear. We got t-shirts. I got a hoodie. We've got collared shirts. We got golf shirts. What do you want? What more do I need to do to prove to you that I'm a legitimate media outlet when I request a credential or when we request credentials from you? You don't have that answer. And I can tell you right now, when he gave me the contact for this person that I'm talking about down in the NASCAR credentials office, and I called them and I left a message on his voicemail, it's a he. When he called us back, he called Matt and said he'd be happy to talk to me. My phone hasn't rang.
True story. True story.
It's on you, NASCAR. It's on you. Keep shedding listeners. Keep shedding viewers. Keep shirking people and marginalizing them. And pretty soon, you yourself will find yourself marginalized. And again, that's your warning. That's why I've got the MTV logo up. Fair warning. End of commentary. Will we retouch on this on Saturday's big show? Maybe, but we're going to have a lot of other stuff to talk about. So I hope you join us then, and we will be on at our regular time, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central Time. Join us right here on CRN Live on YouTube. We appreciate it. Thank you to Molly. Thank you to producer John. Thank you to everybody. Don't forget, subscribe down below. And again, I'm not worried about which YouTube page you're on. You could be on CRN Live on YouTube. You can be on Jocks 94.5 TV. You can be on Real Talk 99.5 TV. All of those YouTube pages. Heck, subscribe to them all. We're all there. And we've got an audio version on Spotify. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you or talk to you Saturday morning. Again, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central Time. And until then, hopefully you'll have a fantastic week.
You've been listening to Crossed Flags, a racing podcast. For more content like this, subscribe to CRN Live on YouTube, and you'll be set to catch the 2-hour live show every Saturday morning at 9 Eastern, 8 Central.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.